Yeah. Know what it is? Day 47 AM PM on the grind all day, revisiting as much rugby league information as possible. Right now, up to the 1969 wooden spoon in Australian rugby league. And as we always say, watching this video all the way through to the end so you didn't miss any crucial rugby league information. So, this time in 1969, wooden spoon going to Cronulla Sharks, unfortunately. They ended the competition in 1967 and got that wooden spoon. 1968 they avoided it and Newtown got it. But unfortunately they got it again in 1969, so they picked up 2 wooden spoons in the first 3 years. But, like I said already in the 1967 wooden spoon video, it would only be a few more years, 1973, where they'd make their first grand final. And even though they lost that grand final to Manly 10 points to 7 in 1973, obviously they were playing much better by then, and then throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s, and up to the present day, they've had lots of good times. Of course, they have only won the one premiership in 2016 when they beat Storm 14-12, but even though they've choked in the finals a lot of times, they have, most of the time, played much better than their early days, getting 2 wooden spoons in 3 years. But for this point in time, they'd have to endure another wooden spoon. And from the 22 games played in 1969, they managed only 5 wins and had 17 losses, so makes it very difficult to avoid the wooden spoon, only having 5 wins, 10 competition points altogether. And they did in fact lose the first seven games of the season, so obviously rooted them down the bottom of the ladder and would make it very difficult to catch the rest of the field before they eventually picked up 5 wins eventually. But those 5 wins they did have between round 8 and round 22. At no point did they win back-to-back games during 1969, and those 5 wins they did have few and far between and sandwiched right in between all the frequent losses that they were having. And then we move on to the stats, and they scored 301 points but conceded 448 in 1969, so before and against a very disappointing minus 147 points. The top try scorer, his name was Paul Taylor, and he got only 7 tries, so the best try scorer could only get 7 tries for the whole season from the 22 games, which isn't very impressive. And then the top point scorer, which was a little bit impressive, his name was Terry Hughes, and I said already in the 1967 wooden spoon, Sharks got that wooden spoon. He was their top point scorer that year. Well, he was their top point scorer again in 1969, so at least he was a bit consistent for him. And he managed to get 80 points for Cronulla in 1969, 36 goals, no tries, but 36 goals, which is 72 points. And he also got 4 2-point field goals, which makes 80 points. Remembering, at the time, all field goals used to be 2 points, not just 40-metre field goals like today. Back then, under the scoring system at that point in time, all field goals were 2 points, just so we can be clear on that. Then we move into the most embarrassing moment, and there's two contenders, like 50-50 up in the air, and I'd like to know your opinion. You can drop a comment down below as to which one you think is the most embarrassing moment. In 1969, round 3, Cronulla had copped a hiding from South Sydney 43 points to 4, so a 39-point margin there. And then in round 7, they'd copped the hiding from Canterbury 42-15, and that's a 27-point margin. My opinion is that the loss to Canterbury is more embarrassing because when they lost to South Sydney in round 3, South were of course the second best team in 1969. South eventually made the 1969 grand final, lost at the Balmain 11-2, but they did at least make it. Whereas Canterbury had only finished in 8th place out of the 12 teams. So South one of the heavyweight teams in 1969. But Canterbury, one of just the average team. So my personal opinion is that it's more embarrassing to lose to the average team than what it was to lose by a big margin to the top team. But let me know your opinion down below as to what's the most embarrassing moment in 1969 and the moment in the sun. So finally, they did win 5 games eventually. In round 8, they'd beaten Newtown 30 points to 14. In round 12, they'd beaten Norths 19-11. In round 16, they'd beaten Penrith 11-8. And in round 19, they beat Newtown again, 26-15. So at least they did manage to beat Newtown twice. So they had the wood over one of the other teams at least. And the other game they won, 1969 round 21, they'd managed to defeat Parramatta 22 points to 14. So there you go, pretty straightforward there. This wooden spoon nowhere near as baffling as Eastern Suburbs in 1963 or in 1966, which you can scroll through this wooden spoon playlist to find those videos. Nowhere near as baffling as some of the 1930s and 1940s and 1950s wooden spoons that we've done so far on this channel. And we've got a long way to go. This is only up to 1969. We've still got to get all the way up to 2024, the present day, so we've got more than 50 wooden spoon videos left before we finally finish this playlist. And if you're still watching all the way through to the end, like I always say, thank you so much for continued pulverising brutal support. Couldn't do it without yous. And you can also watch my other channel, and that's called D47's Dad Jokes, for a ton of terrible dad joke shorts on there. On the Dad Jokes channel, it's very fun and frivolous and stupid. Shorts that are very fun and frivolous and stupid, but on the long form rugby league channel, it's very serious business. Two sides to D47 all day for real and saying, handle that business on the grind and pay them up in this bitch for real. Thank you so much for watching. 47.